everybody? Welcome to the 300 Podcast. This is our ninth episode. My name is Coven from Encoded Media, and I'm brought to you by Encoded Media. I'm here with my co-host Gilbert. How you doing today, Gilbert? What's going on?
Good, man. It's just officially summer. It's the second half. We're approaching the second half of the season in baseball. Things are spiking up. Mets are turning it around a little bit. Yankees are still rolling high. Let's see what happens, man. Let's see.
Yeah. And unfortunately, we do have to, start the podcast with some sad news, unfortunately. But having gained another baseball legend, that being Willie Mays, unfortunately, he passed away. Tough news across the baseball world. His lasting impact on a lot of the players that still play to this day has been phenomenal. We haven't really seen much of him play. But from what we've seen through highlights, what he's done in the World Series, the basket catch and everything, my heart goes out to him and his family. But I heard he passed away peacefully. But it's sad news nonetheless. So you want to share any opinions on that so far?
Yeah, that's definitely a shock, and it's crazy because I was talking with a friend literally like 2 to 3 days prior about Willie Mays, and I had thought that he already had passed. But I guess I've spoken into existence, so I apologize if I did. But nonetheless, Willie Mays say, hey kid, great. Willie Mays died, man, a New York legend, and he's a two-time MVP over here, 24-time All-Star, really impressive. Wow,
Yeah.
longevity's a virtue with him. He's a center fielder, 12-time Gold Glove, one-time World Series champion. This guy was just phenomenal, and he ended his career as a Met. So there's much more appreciation with that, and we retired his number. I just wanted to go over briefly on his numbers. Like this guy was godly, like 660 home runs, just under 2,000 RBIs, career 301 average, 940 OPS.
23 years in the majors, bro.
23, and it could have been more if he didn't miss time due to military service and
You're right.
sometimes.
You're right.
And he played in the Negro Leagues too, his first season, so that's really impressive too.
That's amazing. No, yeah,
And,
absolutely.
yeah, this guy's phenomenal. Like I truly believe he's a top 10 player of all time in baseball, just on numbers alone.
Right. I mean, to a lot of, the older folks, the ones that watched him play, they do argue, that he was arguably the best player that they ever seen. And if you scroll up a little bit, Willie Mays was reported 5'10", 170 pounds. Like this guy wasn't even huge. And he was putting up numbers as if he was 6'3", 225. You know, it's crazy. It's crazy. But, sad news nonetheless. Let me ask you a different question here. Do you believe that the number 24 should be retired throughout all of baseball in honor of Willie Mays?
Damn, that's a great question. I don't know, bro. I really don't know if that should be a thing across all teams. I only say that because I honestly I don't know. I don't know if I can answer that, bro. Because then the argument can be is that is if you do universal retirement for his number, then other players eventually will start feeling like they deserve that, and maybe they won't be enough numbers in the future. That's
I
what
I 100% agree. No, I don't think this should be a hot take at all. I mean, it was brought up on the Michael K podcast. So I just thought it was a fun question to answer more or less. But how do you guys feel about Willie Mays, number 24, being retired across baseball? Do you guys believe is a good thing? Do you guys feel like that should happen? If you guys don't agree with that, go ahead and share your opinions. Um, I strongly believe that it shouldn't be retired across baseball, and this is not to be discrediting anything that Willie Mays has done. But I do feel like if he was one that you retire his number, I feel like that's going to create a tide more or less that more people feel like they deserve to have their numbers retired. You increase that argument, and for Jackie Robinson, I believe it was totally a different scenario. But I don't think that for somebody like Willie Mays, I feel like this should be, I think, and this is me being a Bulls fan. If you're gonna retire Willie Mays' number, this is why the argument is what it is. If you retire Willie Mays' number across baseball, then you should retire Jordan's number across basketball. Like I look at it. I look at it like that.
that's a fair take, the way you look at it. I
Yeah. But
also I also want to transition since we're speaking about a Mets legend in the way. The Mets, as he spoke, they won three in the last 15 games. Ever since the famous Grimace, showed up to the field with the ceremony first pitch.
yeah.
Um,
Talk a little bit about that. As somebody who is just getting accustomed to the Mets or re-engaging with them throughout the season. I mean, because it's really been a rough ride. Where did that grimace thing even come about?
I don't know. Maybe it was a Happy Meal promo with McDonald's or something because they're also
Just
promoting it on Twitter too.
I
So
think he might have thrown the first pitch.
yeah,
I
he
think
did
that,
do the first pitch. Yeah. And
uh,
I guess the team has just been clicking. And I also wanted to show these advanced numbers. This is basically like a playoff odd generator by Baseball Reference, of course. And it's speaking on the record that they have and the expected record they should have by now. Um,
oh wow, that's really good, bro.
yeah. So as of right now, they're three games under 500. And they're expected to get 46 more wins if everything goes according to plan, with a projection record of 81 and 80. Um, yeah, and a lot of teams, a lot of generators have the Mets making a wild card as the last seed wild card, the sixth seed.
I was
So
just about to say that. Yeah.
maybe it's possible, like here, like a 22% change in the last 7 days based on their play. So
I mean, they've been hot. They've been real, real hot, and we're gonna dive into that a little bit further.
look at this, bro.
Um,
Like 36 and 38. You look at the wild card race. Um, dude, they literally it's just crazy. I didn't expect it, but then again, my
a half
expectations
game
was a
out.
500 foot. So
No, that's phenomenal. I mean, and if you look at the standings here for the wild card, I mean, I do
it's so
believe that
close.
the Braves are definitely, in my personal opinion, I have them going to the World Series, and that was before the Ronald Acuna injury. Um, but I do think that the Braves are a nail in terms of the wild card. The Cardinals, the Padres, the Diamondbacks, and the Mets. I think it's honestly, and the Pirates even.
A
I do
lot of
think that
teams.
the Pirates. Yeah, there's a lot of teams for better or worse. And they're definitely in the hunt. And as we know in baseball, all you need to do is just get your foot in the door and you have a chance. Look at last year's Diamondbacks. So they're not that far behind. And I also heard that Cody Singer is beginning to throw as well. So essentially, your ace is coming back.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
That Corey Singer is coming back too. I heard that he just
Yeah,
started his throwing program. He's rehabbing pretty well. So you guys have been doing this without an ace, and you guys are essentially going to get him back, just as the Yankees did. So I think definitely the Mets could definitely uh, pull off a push. Is there any other factors that you want to share in terms of what has been contributing to the Mets' success?
I mean the pitching is still solid. The starting rotation. The bullpen had a tough stretch in May. They seem to have turned it around a bit this month. Eden Diaz is getting some saves now. Again, he's back into the closer spot. And the team it's just clicking right now. They're playing hard. They finally scoring runs. It seems like the offense finally woke up as a cohesive unit. You got the addition of Jose Iglesias now that he's hitting a bit over 400 in the last 10, 12 games that he's been on the team. So that just sparked the offense too. Jeff McNeil was not in the offense, so it might be quiet for him to getting the starter spot back. So that's
Well,
something to watch.
and we all know that competition does bring out the best in you, and maybe he
Yeah,
needed that. Maybe Jeff McNeil might have gone complacent on the Mets. We don't know. We're not in the clubhouse to make these assumptions, but we do
yeah,
watch these games, and at the end of the day, we do know that as athletes, competition does bring out the best in you. And I wanted to
yeah.
highlight somebody that you wanted to highlight, and that was the addition of Jose Iglesias. He's a veteran. He's 34 years old. He's been around the block. Phenomenal defensive shortstop. But one thing that has been standing out to me has been his bat as of late. In the past 15 games, as we look at his splits, he's batting 438 and on base has been 486.
Yeah.
Slugging 500. In the past 15 games, 6 RBIs. He has 14 hits out of 32 at bats. I mean, what more can you want from essentially like a stopgap, maybe platoon infielder that's on the decline? It's been phenomenal on his
Mhm.
case.
Yeah.
Another person that I want to highlight, I don't know if you want to add anything onto Jose Iglesias.
Nah, he's been a great addition, low risk. He was in a minor league, so I like it, man. If that's what it takes for us to start clicking, I'm for it.
Right, right. I think that was a solid piece. I think that was a solid piece. You can never go wrong with a veteran that's still doing his job. You
Yeah,
know, another person that I do want to highlight, and that is your man's right here. He might have the grimmest nickname, bro. It's Francisco Alvarez,
Francisco Alvarez. Yeah,
bro.
7-1,
Phenomenal
7
right here.
days, man.
Any observations? Anything that you want to share about Francisco Alvarez thus far?
The okay, so with Alvarez, the notion was, his defense needs to work. Ever since he came up from the minors, maybe not as much now or last year, but that was the emphasis and him coming up through the system. I feel like his defense has been his most valuable asset to this team. I feel like he's great at
Really,
having chemistry in
both
the
playing.
pitching rotation, calling games, trusting the pitcher, calming them down, doing mound visits timely. I feel like that's been tremendously the difference. The pitchers statistically have lower ERA when he's behind the plate as well. And then, he's a spark. He's the energy. I truly feel like he's an X factor to the Mets. I feel like when he's healthy, the team can try to get going. And I'm happy, man, that as we pull in the part of the baby Mets, man, I'm happy. And the Mets are 17-1 every time,
He
Francisco
played.
Alvarez plays this year. And they're 17-31 when he doesn't play this year when he was hurt. So
That's
that's value.
insane.
That's the
That's
value.
insane. Now, I'm just so glad that right now it looks as though he's turning the corner because I feel like at some point people might have been second guessing if he was going to be a bust. And in this case, I mean, he came into the MLB, high praise, a lot of potential there. So I'm just glad that overall that it's just been clicking for him. Another person that I'm especially glad that it's been clicking for him as of late. If you look back at our episodes, we were actually critiquing Francisco Lindor a little bit. We were asking ourselves, is he living up to the contract? No, I don't think he's living up to the contract at this point. However, I will say that we have to give credit when it's due. And lately, as we take a look at his splits here, in the past 7 games, he's been batting 357. He has a home run,
Even the
5
last 30.
RBIs. Say that one more
Yeah.
time.
I said even the last 30 is pretty good.
Even the last 30, since the last time that we might have spoken about him over the past month or so, he's been batting extremely well. So I think that a big turning point was probably when he struck out looking, when he was taken. I mean, it can't get worse than that.
Yeah.
The same thing with Judge. I mean, things started changing with him once he actually got his first career injection. This dude has been number one in every category. So,
Yeah.
at some point in the season, you do need to have, not that you do need to, but, you know, you do reach a breaking point in the season where something happens that just makes you want to just switch gears. Is there anything that you want to share about that?
I'm just happy Lindor is producing more consistently. I really hope he maintains this through the rest of the season and he evens his numbers out. He's a player that if you look at surface value stats, you might not appreciate who he is and the value that he brings. When you look at advanced stats, advanced measurements, his numbers support the impact that he has as a player. So for me, it depends how you look at it. He's finally playing well. The team is playing well, so it goes hand in hand. The defense is still pretty good.
Right.
And I would like to revisit his season as the season progresses in the end of the year because I speak about this guy weekly about his production, about his play,
Yeah.
and either whether I critique him or not, I still want the best for him. He's on my team, and I'm not like those fans that have to reach at the end to his wife or to his family and be nasty in the comments. Like you don't got to do that. So just keep it positive, man. Trust your players and keep it pushing.
Yeah. And the other thing is it could be also that he could be a player that struggles during the colder months, and as there's nothing like a little bit of New York humidity where the ball tends to fly a lot more during the summer here in New York City. So maybe that just contributes to his numbers being better. I mean, you never know. But as we look to go ahead into the Mets schedule, tomorrow they're up against the Cubs. Two games left against the Cubs, and it's a Subway Series. Pretty exciting there. A little bit disappointing that it's only 2 games. Like we mentioned before, I feel like these team matchups should be longer, 3-4 game series or so, but it is what it is. Then they're going to go up against the Astros for what it seems to be a 3-game set. And then after that, the Nats, who the Nats have actually been a surprise this year. So the schedule is looking a little bit tough. I know the Astros have been struggling a little bit this year, but you still can't count them out. I mean, they're 7 years in a row being the American League Championships, well, prior to last year. But you just can't count them out. So we'll see. And it's a tough matchup as we go along. I mean, the Pirates are also still in the hunt. And so on. It's not going to get easier until at least closer to the All-Star break when they play against the Rockies, but we shall see. We shall see. And other news that we want to go ahead and discuss has been the Yankees so far. They played a 3-game set against the O's. I was able to watch all 3 games. And let me tell you, man, as a Yankee fan, bro, yeah, we got our jaw rocked on that one, bro. I think yesterday the score. I don't even want to talk about yesterday.
It is high. It is far.
Yeah,
It is gone.
yeah, they definitely lit him up. Let me tell you something. Luis Hill has definitely been pitching phenomenal. I mean, last night he got rocked for like 7, 8 runs. I don't want
Yeah.
to say that he was due, but but the way this dude was pitching leading up to this game was out of this world. So, you know,
Definitely.
I think it could be a possibility that he was probably tipping his pitches a little bit. That can also happen as you gain a lot more confidence in your pitching. Like you feel like you're just so that unbeatable, then you can kind of give away your pitches a little bit, and then it is what it is. Like you just be
Yeah.
overly confident and put the ball down the middle.
Hmm.
I think that's what happened. But let me tell you something: the O's are a complete team. The O's are nasty, bro. They could do it
Yeah,
all.
I like them.
And one thing that you pointed out is that the Yankee flaws are beginning to show.
Yeah.
Is there something that you want to share about that? Because I know you had a lot of opinions on that. And by any means, Gilbert is
Um,
a Yankee hater, but he has some valid points that I agree with him also.
um, I mean, the Yankees are still gonna have a phenomenal year, nonetheless. Like, I think they're still a very elite team. I do think the flaws will show against other great teams like the Orioles, the Dodgers, the Phillies, teams like that. And the flaws will be like high leverage moments of the defense. I feel like Glaber has not been locked in on defense at second this year. Some costly errors. DJ LeMay is working his way back from an injury, so I'm not sure if his mobility is 100% there. Rizzo, I feel like as much as I like Rizzo, I feel like he's a former shell of himself. And it's happened, he's already older. He's been in the league for some time.
Boom, boom, boom. you just you shooting at everybody. You said Glaber. You said
I
Rizzo.
mean,
Nah, you
you
saying the truth.
actually
You saying the truth.
you asked your
Absolutely.
question. I'm trying to give you an elaboration. Like with Rizzo, I like him. I like he's a lefty back. He used to be a Gold Glove defender, but that's obviously decreased, especially since the concussion from last year, and he just got hurt again. I don't know. I feel like the injuries are piling up to him. He's swinging a little slower too sometimes, so the hitting is not back to his average self. Same
No,
with LeMahieu. I feel
absolutely.
like LeMahieu was a great bat, a great contact hitter when he first got to the Yankees, and even in the Rockies, it was a phenomenal hitter. And I feel like injuries just kind of taking that opportunity from him, plus aging, and he's kind of working his way around the infield because, like, if you look at the roster, he doesn't have a strict position he's playing. Like when he was in the Rockies, he was a second baseman, but they moved Glaber to second. Remember? So
Yeah.
now he has to shuffle between third and first, between Donaldson last year, Rizzo last year, and this year. He's shuffling, and then you got Peraza and other guys too. So he's trying to find his way in the lineup. So hopefully he turns it on consistently, really, really good on offense. But other than that, and one more thing, the catching. The catching has to improve, especially on defense. Against the Red Sox, 9 steals. I think that was like the most in like
They
almost 100
exposed
years.
us.
Since
Yeah.
like almost 100 years. So it's like, damn, like if you play a high game and they do the scouting that showing his pitching, he takes long in his delivery. And Trevino, what was it? Trevino? Yeah, Trevino didn't have the arm to get those runners out. It's gonna be, open run for the other team.
I will say that when it comes down to getting base runners out, I do think that it takes two. It takes two
Yes,
because not only the
yes.
pitcher, not only is it the catcher's arm, but it's also the
The
pitcher needs
timing.
to be aware of his delivery exactly. And I
Hmm.
do think that the blame has shifted towards Trevino a lot, and he's not the only one to blame because at the end of the day, if the pitcher has a high leg kick or they're taking too long to deliver the ball, that's not fully on him. You're not giving him a fighting chance to get the runners out.
That's fair.
But they did expose us. And then shout out to the Boston Red Sox and Alex Cora. I love Alex Cora as a manager. I wish he was our manager. I've been very vocal about that in regular dialogue, and I know he's a Boston Red Sox manager. I don't care. He's a phenomenal manager. But it's true that um, they exposed it. They took advantage of an opportunity as they should, and they well deserved to win that series because of just that
Yeah,
alone. We didn't adapt when we needed to. And I do
yeah,
agree with everything that you mentioned about Rizzo, about Glaber, about DJ LeMahieu. For Rizzo, yes, the concussions could be to blame, absolutely. But his defense has not been up to par. I think he was struggling a lot on his defense before his bat went cold. And you already know, and I say this time and time again, confidence is everything in everything that you do. So as soon as that gets shot, you become a shell of
yeah,
yourself. He's a lot older. The way that he bats, the way that he finishes, he puts a lot of stress on his back, which he's had back issues before. And now that he's
yeah,
hurt, it's a fractured arm, but it is what it is. We did have the opportunity to discuss, or we had the opportunity to bring up a new prospect by the name of Ben Rice, which we're going to be talking about in a different episode, depending on how well he does. But Rizzo being down, the injuries are beginning to pile up. Is just something that is not new to Yankee fans. You know, everything was way too good to be true at the beginning of the year, and I hate to break it to you guys, but the injuries are beginning to come up. With DJ LeMahieu, yes, he's battling age. When he was not first learning how to play third, but when he had adjusted to going from playing at second base to third base, he was like a top 10 third baseman. And not top 5, but he was definitely in the discussion. So the skills are there, but the thing is, he's battling injuries. And one of the toughest injuries that you can come back from is anything that involves your feet in any sport.
Yeah.
His right foot is his back foot, where you put all of your power into it. If you simply can't drive off your back foot, then where's the ball going? You know, essentially, as you're batting, all of your weight is on that back foot, bro. And once that's compromised and stuff like that, your body tries to compensate in other ways. And for an aging veteran, truth be told, I think that DJ LeMahieu probably has this year and another year left in him before he either gets DFA'd, he retires, or they trade him. And that's just the reality of it. Another hot take, and you guys can go ahead and share your opinions on this. I do not believe that Gleyber Torres is going to come back to the Yankees. I think that from the beginning of this year, from my understanding and from my observations, I think that him knowing that it was a contract year and him knowing the fact that we've gotten Soto and we've gotten all these other players and we're gonna have to pay these other athletes, I think that got into his head, and I think it started affecting his play. I think that he has a way of playing defense like a Robinson Cano, try to look very smooth. But again, there's a fine line between, I know I'm going on a rant, but there's a fine line between making something look effortless and making something look extremely lazy. And he falls into that looking very lazy category. Offensively, bro, he doesn't even have 10 home runs at the half of the year. Like, where has his power has gone?
Yeah.
It's tough. So I agree. I'm glad that you pointed out those 3 because we do need to hold them accountable. I feel like they've just been underperforming. You know, it can't be Judge, Soto. Stanton has definitely done what he had done, but had to do. But Volpe has stepped up tremendously. But they do need to step up. I agree.
On the flip side, I do want to say that Garrett Cole is back. He made his start 2 days ago, I believe. He didn't go as long. Obviously, he's on a pitching limit. Currently, he'll probably be like that for the next month or so.
Yep.
But hey, that's great news, man. You got your ace back. I would like to see if they do keep the 6-man rotation or they go back to 5. They do 6 or the spots.
They're not gonna go to the 6-man rotation.
Those are good problems. Those are good problems to have. Before we wrap it up, I want to thank you guys for listening, supporting. On the next episode, we'll discuss the Dodger City Connect jerseys. Actually, I want to discuss all the jerseys that have been dropped. The 28 teams that have jerseys and the 2 Dodgers jerseys that they've gotten. We can do a little breakdown next episode. I think that'll be fun for the fans. Do interactive, this or that. We can talk about the jerseys. Only the Yankees and the A's don't have one, but that's fine.
For now.
You also want to touch on Manny Machado. We can do that next episode as well.
Yeah, Manny Machado has been struggling this year, man. So people are beginning to wonder, was he also worth the money? Was he also
depends?
Because
the first contract he was worth it with the Padres.
Right. And now this one is looking a little.
I mean, he's also older, but I'll give him some time. But yeah, there's a lot of players. I also want to touch up on Royce Lewis. Not sure if you know who that is. I think you do. Who that is. I played him last year. You know, that guy is a beast, a phenomenal. It just sucks that he's never healthy, bro. But I feel like he's played like 13 games this year, and he's sitting like 380. I think over 10 months already.
Bro, to me, he's one of the most confident players in the league, bro.
Oh yeah,
and like I mentioned before,
swag too. Bro.
Confidence is everything. Yeah, he does. He's great for the sport. Absolutely. That'd be a fun thing to discuss.
I would like, and then I think this is a stat of his last 162 games. Phenomenal. You can look him up, Royce Lewis. They're based for the Twins, and we out here. Thank you again for the episode. This is episode 9, 300 Club. My name is Gilbert. My co-host Calvin right here, and we out here.